You shall not pass. Here's your look at the new Star Ace. This is the Lord of the Rings Defo Real Balrog, the deluxe version final figure. Summoned from the shadows, the Balrog is the newest addition to the Defo Real series of soft vinyl collectible figures. The product code for this release is SA6019. As we normally do, the first thing I'm going to do is provide you guys with how tall this Balrog stands. Star Ace kindly provided this sample copy that we're looking at in this review. So again, big thank you to them for doing that. Stopping the tape measure right to the very top of its Mohawk flame. How cool is that? It's got a Mohawk flame. Presented to you, according to the readout, you're looking at the vinyl figure of the Balrog standing 5.8 inches in height. And in centimeters, that works out to be 14.8 centimeters tall. This is also the deluxe version, so you're going to get a couple of extra things with it. For starters, the deluxe version is also going to come included with this really cool looking display base. I'm not really certain why there's this indentation of a circle presented on the back there. It doesn't really affect or tell you specifically where the Balrog is going to stand. Based on its shape, I guess you really could display it either way. The base, it's fully finished all the way around and decoed here in red and various different stripes of glowing yellow. I really do like that. On the underside, you've got, flipping around the right way, you've got 4 felt feet. Placed in corners, not quite in immediate corners to one another, but 4 felt feet on either side to prevent scratching on any surface. Again, it's a nice looking display stand. When you are taking the Balrog and you are putting him in place, there's really, again, no specific instructions. I suppose if you wanted to, you don't have to have the circle facing forward. I'm just not certain why that circular shape is even there in the first place. But let's say we put that to the back so we can seal it at best. And you could put the Balrog just on top of that. Now, if that isn't cool enough, then you've got the little bonus edition, something, again, that only comes included with the deluxe version, and you've got yourself a little super stylized version of Gandalf, complete with staff and sword in his hand. Gandalf is presented, again, in a stylized nature, super deformed in a super proportions of what super deformity would come with that. So he's got the larger head, slightly smaller body, and slightly small arms. Again, a nice little cute representation of Gandalf. By no means do I want to dismiss these collectibles by calling them cute, but there's something, again, a little quirky and fun for the fact that you're taking Gandalf, who is one of the tallest characters in the Lord of the Rings lore, and then you're kind of shrinking him down to the size of, well, he's about the size of my thumb. Literally, he's about the size of my thumb. So really nice detailing done to Gandalf. Kind of his muted colors, if anything. There's nothing really vibrant on him, but I guess I kind of like that because, for starters, he's in a really dark environment, and he's almost shadowed, literally shadowed, by the size of this beast, the Balrog, that he's going to battle. That's a whole lot of bees. The coloring is done in kind of greens, grays, and some browns. Really liking, again, the sculpting that they've done for this. Now, again, if you wanted to go with the regular release of the Balrog, if you manage to pick up either one of these and decide you don't necessarily need, say, Gandalf or the base, you can completely omit them and just get the standard release instead. But again, a nice little additioning welcome piece to kind of greet your Balrog at the door. Obviously, if you wanted to display the piece, I kind of like the fact of putting little tiny Gandalf in front of the Balrog. A nice bonus certainly would have been, I guess you could take the Balrog run it this way, or run the base this way, and put Gandalf here. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of clearance. I mean, really, when it's all said and done, he's looking really quite closely at the Balrog. There's not really too much of an allotment of space. They made it just a little bit longer. You can almost pretend it's the bridgeway, which Gandalf, of course, utters the words, "You shall not pass." We know how well that goes. Again, a really nice presentation for the way that they've presented this. In the way that they've given you the base, they've given you a little Gandalf. And again, if you wanted to just completely omit that, you can take these off altogether, and you still get quite the pleasant looking piece with the Balrog. We're going to go ahead and just take the base. We'll move that to the side. Just again for a size comparison for how big little tiny Gandalf is dwarfed. It's somewhat ironic that I would use the term dwarfed, considering it's Lord of the Rings. But you can see how size proportionately he's smaller than the very towering size that the Balrog. They are still much more shrunken in size versus what they're supposed to look like in film. But again, like from a super deformed size, it's like I really like the fact, I mean, again, like just having a, oh, that looks really, really cool. Having the little Gandalf fighting, squaring toe-to-toe, or toe-to-claw, I suppose, of this very mighty Balrog. So we're going to go ahead and move the base out of the way. As having already spent some time looking at that, I don't want to spend too much time, because really focusing, I want as much as I possibly can on looking at this really neat-looking Balrog. Easily one of my favorite movie monsters of recent memory. Of course, there's the xenomorphs, there's the predators, but one of my favorite designs recent memory has to be the Balrog. Just love the design of the giant horns coming out from the front of his face. Kind of, in some ways, reminds me of Darkness from Legend. Again, a completely different beast altogether. But like the horns, there's something about oversized horns on the face of a creature I think is really super cool. There's nothing really quite cool about this. Everything on him is hot to the touch. Not literally, but certainly visually. Everything looks on him like he's molten lava. In fact, one of the things I love so much is that they've molded this skin and painted it in such a way that it looks like cracked lava. Lava that's cooled, and you can still see the hot interior underneath the cracked kind of ash layer that's over top of it. It looks very much like a dragon. Again, part skeleton, part dragon, and of course on top of that you've got this fiery mane that projects out from its spine. It's kind of really such a neat looking design of this character. The front, again, mimics something more of the skull. So really a lot of the dark colors seems on the underbelly of the Balrog. The top is really where a lot of the warm, hot colors like the reds, the oranges, and the yellows come into play, where really like the underbelly keeps more to dark blacks, grays, and kind of really like dark gray colors. In fact, a lot of what they seems to have done is they probably have used like this dark plastic color here, and then they've just dry brushed the gray over top of that, just so that you can make out. It's really remarkable that the Balrog is as defined as it is, sporting what seems almost to be a six-pack and pectoral muscles. Of course, you got the hooves there on the back of the legs. The Balrog also sports his whip, and it's done in a translucent orangey red plastic. You can almost see my finger running, well, you can't see my finger running behind it, but it's been done in a really nice, like I said, see-through plastic. The wraparound tail, and kind of digging also the way that the wings are folded in on themselves. They could have gone the route of widening and fanning out the wings to get their full effect, but there's something almost, again, more menacing to the fact that this thing is crouched down and looking at, again, little tiny Gandalf staring right back at the beast. Fiery mane is really a nice touch. One of my favorite touches to this creature. Really like what they've sculpted and been able to incorporate in there. Looks like it's definitely using a different type of plastic to the vinyl, what they've used for the rest of the figure here. Really nicely done here. It seems likely that they probably used a yellow plastic, and more likely than not just airbrushed some additional oranges and some warmer reds in there also as well. It glistens and pulsates. It almost seems like it looks like it could light up if it's not already lit up already. Just a really fantastic looking specimen. I'm a big sucker, of course, and biased I'm sure I sound, Really liking the color scheme. The design of Balrog has always been one of my personal favorites. So kind of getting a super deformed version of it is really right up my alley. The wings themselves, again, kind of look like bat wings, sort of dragon-like wings, the real texturing that they've been able to incorporate in there. Though, again, there's not really much additional paint when you really look at it. There's not much that they've added above and beyond the simple brown that they've added to the wings. The brown is kind of mixed. Seems like it's part gray, part brown. Certain lighting, I feel like I'm getting more dark browns than I'm getting more grays. You got the little hooked claw. The top sections of the wing are done in a slightly different color, kind of more of a lighter gray, I suppose, than anything else. It's really, again, the combination of colors put together. If this was solely all gray and all black, then I think a lot of the details certainly would lost, but Balrog definitely doesn't have those darker colors. If anything in the movie, most of the time he's just fire. He's just fire with more silhouette looking right at you. It's when you can kind of enjoy smaller scale representations of the Balrog here presented by Star Ace's Defo Real series that you can really kind of catch a lot of the more subtle details that you wouldn't normally be able to have caught on film. Again, I'm a bit of a sucker, I have to admit, when it comes to the Balrog as a whole. Anything that's really Balrog is stuff I pick up. It also benefits the fact that the Defo Real series is something I've been kind of getting on board for the longest of times. They've been doing the Balrog, they've been doing the Defo Real series with various different Kong releases. We just recently looked at the Kong 2.0 from Kong Skull Island, and I really was a big fan of that one as well. Taking Defo Real, and then of course taking my love for Lord of the Rings and the Balrog and kind of mashing those two together, you really get something what I consider to be one of the best so far of the Defo Real that Star Ace has produced. I'm so biased in this review. So biased. I'm biased because anytime there's a collectible that's coming out with my main man here, Balrog, I'm generally having a leaning love towards it more than a negative, and it's all said and done, my collection of Balrog stuff is generally quite small and modest, versus perhaps some other Balrog fans out there that have the big, grander specimens of statues in their collection. I don't have any of that, but anytime there is a new Balrog release, generally I have more love for it than I have dismay. Taking that, of course, and my love for super deformed vinyl figures, you know, over the years that I've been having a look at deformed figures where proportions usually are at play and you have larger sized heads, smaller sized bodies. That's usually what the deformed figures usually end up being. But when you take those two things and you put them together, you've got yourself a very happy marriage. And what we get here is a very happy marriage of the Defo Real series and the Lord of the Rings Balrog. So of course, yes, I would be leaning towards loving this, and I know even though I'm probably a hard person to read, over the course of this review, I found myself giggling a little bit, enjoying this figure probably a little bit more than I had to. The figure itself is splendid. It looks a gorgeous specimen, a sight to be seen. And the benefit of it being a Defo Real series is the fact that they're small. The benefit of these pieces, these releases, is that they don't take up a whole lot of real estate. In other words, ergo, if you are looking to pick these ones up for yourself, you don't have to worry that they're going to be taking up a big amount of space, like some of those big premium statue releases of the Balrog. This is cute and not quite cuddly, but it certainly does take up a nice small space, but it gives you all the details that you would inherit by getting a Balrog collectible, just like I said, on a smaller scale. And for me, I always again love the deformed characters, whether it be vinyl or statues, being the fact that you kind of get exaggerated proportions. They're sort of caricatures to themselves. So Balrog has very large-sized head, giant wings, and very, very small body. And then, of course, a couple that, you've got a very tiny little Gandalf. Look at the size of him. I don't know how he's going to... I mean, you shall not pass. I don't even know how that is even going to stand ground with such a small little tiny Gandalf. He's tiny. If you guys, though, are interested in picking this one up for yourself, just again to break that down in 411, the deluxe version is going to give you the base, it's going to give you the Balrog, and it's going to give you a little tiny Gandalf. Okay, I'll stop pointing out the fact he's so small. If you are looking to pick up the standard release, the Balrog will just come by himself. And Balrog won't come with the base, or it won't come with Gandalf. So entirely the choice is yours. Kind of digging also the fact that Star Race gives you the options the way that they do. Maybe you don't want Gandalf. I don't get why you wouldn't want Gandalf, but if you don't want Gandalf, you could just get yourself the regular release, and it's not going to have all that stuff going for it. So a lot of cool things coming from the folks over at Star Race. And definitely the Balrog here could easily be one of my favorite defo reel that they've released so far. I don't think there's going to be much that's going to take the throne away from this guy right here. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, what do you guys think of the Lord of the Rings Defo Reel Balrog Deluxe version? Always like reading your comments down below. And hey now, if you're new to this channel, or let's even just say you're a longtime viewer, it's one of those things that you saw a video, you like this guy's stuff, this is what you're thinking to yourself. I'm going to subscribe. Then the phone rings. Sally Lou is on the phone. She wants to know if you want to go to the dance with her, and you get sidetracked, and that's okay, and you forgot all about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and periodically check on over at the home page. See if there's anything that you may have missed along the way. Maybe you and Sally have been dating for a while. Things didn't work. She ended up hooking up with Mike, that jerk that, you know, has the locker just down the way from you. And now you're getting back into watching this channel again. Thank you, by the way, that I'm Plan B. But if you are coming back to this channel and you feel like you may have missed stuff along the way of your dating exploits with Sally, check on over at the homepage, see if there's any videos that you may have missed along the way. We're going to have a whole bunch of Star Race reviews coming up onto this channel. And again, a big thank you to the folks over at Star Race for sending this review sample my way. But like I said, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff coming your way. So keep your peepers peeled and keep your eyes tuned to this channel for all the new stuff that's going to be coming up on the horizon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.